wish you a very fantastic day. Today we are going to read and understand and also ponder on the chapter 6, which is about stars, planets and moon. Let's all have a happy journey in understanding this lesson. Okay children? Now let's take the picture that shows daytime. Which picture shows the daytime? This one. Then how did you know that the picture shows the daytime? Think about it and write your answer. It has to be on your own. Okay, now let's look ahead. Now let's see what are we going to learn in this lesson. We are going to know about the sun, learn briefly about the earth and the solar system, understand the moon and its different phases. There are different objects that we see in daytime sky and nighttime sky. Usually we see the sun and the clouds in the sky during daytime. We can see stars, moon and clouds in the sky during the night time. Read the story of Pratiksha and the dreams. Pratiksha and a friend were gazing at the night sky. I wonder what I will see if I go up higher than the sky. Will I be able to touch the celestial bodies? Well, in order to know that, Pratiksha, you need to become an astronaut. Now, what are celestial bodies? They are natural bodies outside the Earth's surface. And who is an astronaut? A person who travels in space and studies about the celestial bodies. Pratiksha's dream is to become an astronaut. He studies hard to become one. Children, I think so. Some of you also might be dreaming, isn't it, to become an astronaut. For that, what do you need to do? You need to study hard. And it's not only you should have other dreams also you might be having, to become a doctor, to become a pilot, to become an engineer. All those dreams, to become a teacher. But for everything, what do you have to do? You have to study really, really hard. Okay, so let's all decide right now to study hard and to give our best. Soon Pratiksha got the opportunity to travel into space. She entered a spaceship and got away from the earth to enter into space. As the spaceship moves away from the earth, it slowly travels past the atmosphere and enters space. Space has no air. Pratiksha carried on oxygen, storage tank and food with her. Understood? So that's really lovely, really lovely. See how soon she went, and she went to space and she had a lovely time. Okay, now let's move further to the sun. Sun is the closest star. Sun is also a star, remember that. The earth is just the right distance from the sun to support life. Had it been closer, it would have been very hot. If it was further away, it would have been too cold to survive on earth. The sun is a huge ball of hot gases which gives us heat and light. Sun is a star and is closest star to the earth. The earth moves in an imaginary path around the sun called orbit. Our sun is very, very big. The outer surface temperature of the sun is about 5,500 degrees Celsius. Goodness me! Nothing can survive on the sun. The sun is around 150 million kilometers away from the earth. Million, not only kilometers. It is million kilometers. Imagine that. Solar system. The earth is one of the planets that moves around the sun. It is a third planet from the sun. In order of distance from the sun, the planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. The sun, the planets and their moons together make the solar system. Planets do not have the light of their own. They are non-luminous. The light from the sun falls on them and bounces off from the planet's surface. The planets shine like stars, but they do not twinkle. These are the planets in the solar system. Okay, if you can draw it or stick a picture of it. Got it? You can also draw it. Okay, and then name the various planets in the solar system, beginning with Mercury. Did you get it? Beginning with Mercury. Now let's proceed further. Moon, the Earth's natural satellite. Which is the natural satellite of the Earth? It is the Moon. The Moon is about 384,400 kilometers away from the Sun. The Moon has no light of its own. It is actually the Sun's light that bounces off from the surface of the Moon and comes down to us. We call this light as moonlight. There are only rocks, dust, mountains, and huge ditches called craters on the Moon. There is no air on the Moon. Recently, small traces of water were discovered on the Moon. Moon's orbit, the Moon goes around the Earth, just like the Earth goes around the Sun. The Moon takes about 27.3 days to make one trip around the Earth. Now find out how many moons does Jupiter have. Now this is for you to find out. Did you get it? Now let's move further to the phases of the Moon. We see different shapes of the Moon on different days. When we do not see any moon in the sky, it means that we are not able to see its lit inside at all. It does not mean that the Moon has left the sky for the night. This moon, which we are not able to see, is still present in the sky and is known as new moon. After the new moon, the moon takes a crescent shape. I love crescent shape of the moon from childhood, and slowly turns into half moon, and then finally the full moon. We can see fully lit face of the moon on a full moon night. The moon then slowly reduces to half moon again, and then back to new moon. This entire life cycle of the moon takes about 29 days. Different shapes of the moon are called the phases of the moon. Okay, now this is here new moon, the crescent, the full moon. This is how it happens. Then the half moon. This is called it goes on. The waning phase and the waxing phase goes on. The size of the moon appears to reduce, and here the size of the moon appears to increase. Did you get it? For the first 14 days, when the lighted part of the moon goes on increasing, the moon is said to be waxing. The next 14 days, when the lighted part goes on decreasing, it is called waning phase of the moon. Did you get it, children? So what is waxing phase? The phase of the moon before the full moon. What is waning phase of the moon? The phase of the moon after the full moon. Now what's the activity? To observe the phases of the moon. Make an observation notebook. Observe the phases of the moon in the night sky for 29 days. Draw and name the phases of the moon you observe. Now this is a really good activity. Please do it. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Like that you go on writing and write your observation. You can draw the moon also for that matter. So then we come to the stars. We all like to see the stars twinkling in the night sky. Stars are also huge balls of gases burning with fire. Most of the stars are hot and fiery. Stars appear as tiny dots of light because they are very far away from us. Some people imagine that the stars could be joined by imaginary lines to show different patterns. These patterns are called constellations. Children, surf the net for the constellations. Of course, you can see the constellations in the night sky too, but for that the sky has to be really clear. Here there's a lot of pollution, so you may be not able to see it. Try to observe the constellations shown alongside on a clear night sky. This is the constellation of Orion, and this is the Ursa Minor constellation, and it looks. Let me tell you that these constellations are really spectacular. Okay, let's wind up the lesson with a summary. Space is the region around the earth where there is no air. It is always dark. Sun is a star which contains hot burning gases. The moon and the planets have no light of their own. The planets, their moons, and the sun form the solar system. There is no air on moon. Moon takes about 27.32 days to make one trip around Earth. We can see different shapes of the moon. Stars are very far away from us. They are hot balls of fire and gases. I hope you had a lovely time, children. I enjoyed this lesson, the stars, the planets, and the moon thoroughly. Have a nice day while you listen to this lesson about the stars, planets, and the moon. Thank you.